Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin, as-salatu was-salamu ala Sayyidil Anbiya wal Mursaleen wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in, amma ba'd. As you're well aware that these are the blessed days of Rajab, and you're fully aware of the blessings and barakah of these blessed months, and as the Imam Sahib recited the dua that Allah SWT blesses, Allahumma barikna fi Rajab wa Shaban wa ballighna Ramadan. And just whenever you recite these du'as, just think and ponder a little bit for the wisdom and also what the blessed words of the Prophet ﷺ, what they're saying, and why they're to try to ponder a little bit deeper. Our blessed Master Shaykh Ahmad Abagh, they said once that you should see these months of Rajab, Shaban, and Ramadan rather than seeing them in three separate months. And these are the blessed months, three separate months in single entities. Try to see them in a collective form, in a collective way. So it's like Rajab, Shaban, and Ramadan. Many ahadith you've heard, and also the qawl of the awliya and salihin as well, where this is the starting and the beginning process of Ramadan. If you want a fruitful Ramadan, a blessed Ramadan, then your work starts here now, in the month of Rajab. And hence why the dua, if you hear carefully, as I said last time as well, is that Allah blesses in Rajab and blesses in Sha'ban, and hopefully enable us to reap the rewards and by reaching Ramadan. We've been encouraged, like Hazrat Dunun Misr Rahmullah said, that he gave the analogy of this month, like the month of Rajab is like the month in which you sow the ground and sow your seed in. So in other words, that listen to it, is that the Prophet said Allah SWT blesses in the month of Rajab. You've sowed your seed, your mehnat, your hard work. Now the seed won't grow. Will it? Will it grow just by itself? No, you have to water it. Before putting the seed in there, what you have to do is that you have to aerate the land, take out the unwanted weed, don't get any of that ideas, unwanted weed, unwanted plants, unwanted things, whatever in the area, the plants that you don't want. And then what you do is that you place the seed of the fruit-bearing tree or a plant or a flower, you put that inside the land that you want to actually give fruition in the time of harvest. So what happens is that, what does the farmer do? In other words, he nourishes it with water and maybe even give nourishment of food, plant food to make the plant grow. And hopefully by the time the harvest season comes, he's got a good yield to actually benefit from when the seasons of winter come along. So what we're saying is that bless us. So in other words is that do your merit, do your effort now. Also keep on maintaining and sustain the month of Sha'ban. Hopefully when you come to Ramadan, to time of harvest, you can reap food from it, from your hard labor. And that's why the Mashayikh has said is that see this as a collective, not insignificant, but as a collective. It's a start process. And what we're doing is that we've seen, oh, blessed month of Rajab, alhamdulillah, yes, month of Rajab. And then, we missed out, the blessed month of Sha'ban. And then, oh dear, Ramadan's approached. We've reached it, alhamdulillah, but it's here. But we haven't done the effort. And that's why many people like myself will say, Ramadan here again. I have not reaped any fruits, rewards. It's as if I'm not ready. How many times say this when the month of Ramadan starts? It's come and it's just come around the corner. I'm not ready for it. Where did it come from? That's how we are saying. That means that if you hear ourselves saying this, it means that we were not ready and prepared for it. That's the first sign, that we were not ready and prepared for the month of Ramadan. And we should be. There should be eagerness. There should be a want, there's a desire that, yes, I'm waiting for this month, eagerly waiting for this month. Hence why listen to the dua again. Allahumma barik lana fi Rajab wa Sha'ban wa baghlina ya Rabbal Alameen. Enable us. Help us to reach us Ramadan. There should be want, there should be a zeal of wanting the month of Ramadan, to experience the month of Ramadan. So just ponder upon this, don't just do it in a ratta style and fashion, etc. So inshallah, this will finish with one hadith right at the end before we start Muraqab, one hadith, blessed hadith from Al-Ghunya, from Sayyidina Qadir Jalani Rahmanullah's kitab, of the blessedness of Ramadan, of blessedness of Rajab, should I say. But as you know, the significance of this month is that he, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, had the blessed ascension, mirage, in this blessed month, isn't it? Human beings, we're all, every single one of us, as our blessed Mashaykhs have said, is that Shamadat has said that we are composed of 5 entities: the body, the mind, the heart, the spirit, and the nafs. We'll keep emotions aside for a second. So the body, the mind, the heart, the spirit, and the nafs. And a person, this is how a complete human being will have all of these 5 entities together. And the Prophet ﷺ, what they did was that he, ﷺ, showed us and taught us how we can take these entities to ascension. Every single one of these entities can have an ascension. And he showed us. He showed us, taught us. Now, Aisha said, what does mirage mean? You hear the word mirage, ascension, what is it? What's the meaning of mirage? Mana kya hai? What is it? Mirage literally means is that you're going towards something here lower to something higher. Lower, or you could say from one place to a higher place. Going from one place to a higher place. That's miraj. Ascension means going from one place to a higher place. And who doesn't want to be higher? And you can go higher either physically or spiritually, or both. You can go higher. Now I'm talking about just the definition here. Don't start going into thinking. Here is that you can go in a mirage if you wanted to. When we use the definition, you can either go physically in a mirage or spiritual in a mirage. Now you say, Brother Qais, what do you mean? Who doesn't want to be higher? Everybody wants to be higher, isn't it? Higher and even higher still. Thing is that people are on mirages, believe it or not. There are brothers and sisters, we're on mirage. We are doing ascension. We are elevating ourselves to going higher. You're thinking, what do you mean? I have not experienced this. Even my prayers, I'm not experiencing it, Brother Qais. What are you saying? We are going in mirage. Believe it or not. That person who's living in Pakistan, Bangladesh, India, you know how we have a mirage of the Prophet, he went from Makkah to all the way to Bayt al-Muqaddas. That's the first station in the Maqam, isn't it? And then we go to Bayt al-Muqaddas, isn't it? Masjid al-Aqsa. That's the first station. For that person in India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, their first station may be UK, because they want a mirage, a financial mirage. They want a financial mirage where they want to go higher and higher financially. So their thinking is, how can I reach that? How can I become richer? How can I actually become a millionaire or a billionaire? But the first station for them is UK. Once they reach UK, alhamdulillah, they see the signpost, yes, there's UK. Then the next station could be the dole office. Maybe it's there. Or it could be the kitchen sink. Or it could be the taxi. I'm not belittling this. I'm not trying to say that there's nothing wrong. Having and wanting to acquire wealth, there's nothing wrong in itself. But making this a primary motive where your whole life revolves around becoming a millionaire or billionaire and making your primary job, this is wrong. You're building your foundations, your whole life upon this, but these are crumbling sand. What you're going to do when death comes is that when the maut will come, when death will come, those financial gains, the properties, your mal, your wealth is not going to go with you. Then what have you taken with yourself? So these things, for example, those people who are financial mirage, where is it going to go? There are some people who do know the mirage as well. Sisters and brothers alike, they're in the mirage of beauty. They're beautifying themselves. Brothers are going to the gym, pumping the muscles and making sure they're really, really with their fab. No, again, nothing wrong with that. Sisters are making sure they get this treatment, that treatment, and lipstick and makeup and doing all these different styles and so on. Making themselves look pretty and beautiful. And that's what they're saying. But eventually what happens, have you seen, if they build the whole life on this, if they revolve the whole life on this and make this the sole purpose in their life, this mirage is not going to help them. Because again, it's going to come. What happens with everything? One dalil that Allah SWT gives. He says, look and ponder upon this earth. Everything that you see goes, recedes and dies. For example, you see the beauty of a plant, it dies. You see a child, a human being, let's take the example of human being, the most prettiest model in old age, she's not even worth to look at. You see a car that looked beautiful for you 10 years ago will look ugly to you now. A house and a property, with time, will actually cease. Its beauty will cease. And so on and so on. Allah SWT is giving us the lead, saying that look at it. In this world, everything loses its beauty, loses its charm, eventually it dies. But if you are revolving your life on this and building your foundation on this, what kind of mirage are you having? Some people having a mirage of fame and name. They want office and position and power. You see Dragon's Den and all these other places, they want to be the next entrepreneur, they want the next businessman, and all these companies are trying to compete with one another, bosses trying to compete with one another to be at the top. They want that fame, they want that name. They'll do anything to seduce somebody, whatever, as long as they're at the top. People want to be leader, they want to be prime minister, they want to be kings. And what happens? If this was the whole objective, that mirage is going to destroy them really. It'll destroy them. So here is that the prophetic way the Prophet showed us is that how we can take ourselves in a mirage physically and spiritually. You say, Brother Qais, what? And this is the beauty that you're not appreciating. The fact, the wonderful, the wisdom behind the Mashayikhs and the wonderfulness of this tariq, of tariqat al-Muhammadiyah, is that it's teaching you really every single day, whatever level you are at, whatever stage you are at, whatever level, whatever stage, it is enabling you to go from one place to a higher level. One place to a higher level. Let's say, for example, you are doing the very first sheet, let's say the tongue. It is training and teaching you how the tongue can have a mirage. How can the tongue go from one place to another higher level place? What is the highness of the tongue? Is that to be able to speak in the manner and the way in which the Prophet ﷺ spoke. That is the mirage of the tongue. Making your tongue, making my tongue and your tongue, talking in the manner in which the Prophet spoke. I'm not saying that we will have that kind of level. No. He ﷺ told us how we can have our level of ascension. His was perfect, his was sublime. No other person can be able to reach his mirage. But we can have to our level of Iman, an ascension. How is making that tongue, every time you tick, is an ascension. Tick is an ascension. It's a mirage. You're thinking, Brother Qais, what you mean? Yes, it's a mirage. It's an ascension. You're taking your tongue from something lowly, where it's swearing and bickering and slandering and defaming, to something which is praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, glorifying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, complimenting people, praising Allah and His Messenger, thanking Allah and His Messenger, thanking their creation. Then look at it from there to there. People have a mirage of the eyes. People are discogitating how to have mirage of the ears, mirage of the hands, the mirage of the feet. Once you've done the first stage, the essential organs of the body, you have mirage of the mind. Instead of thinking of sin and planning, of viciousness, etc., etc., you are going towards planning and thinking how you can actually worship Allah in a better way. Being thoughtful of Allah, awareness of Allah, communion with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the mirage of the mind. And then likewise as mirage of the heart. That's the uniqueness and the beauty of this course which we took for granted. Every single one of us can actually have this elevation every single day to our own level. But what we're seeing is that, oh, it's a sheet. There's a sheet. Oh, the mentor told me to do this sheet. Okay, that's it. That is it. No, that is saying is that you want elevation. Next time, see that sheet, see that stage. You want elevation? Everybody, there's not a single person in this world who does not want to be in a high position. No, nobody. Everybody wants to be in a lofty position. Whoever it is, man or woman, they want to be higher. Whatever degree what they're at, whether it's worldly, whatever, they want to be higher. If you got wealth, you want more wealth. If you got a status, you want more status. If you are even the siblings, the youngest siblings, it also craves to be the oldest sibling. It wants a little bit of authority as well. Then when the eldest sibling says, I want the authority of the father or the mother. What I'm trying to say is that everybody is aspiring to be higher. We should be aspiring to be higher every day, and we get the opportunity to aspire higher every day through the course of purification, and see it like that. But not only that, the Prophet of this course, the uniqueness of the course is that have not just left us here. What have they done is that they've also said is that spiritually the Prophet have told us how to have a mirage as well. And the most climax of that, is the spiritual prayer. The prayer that we do is that we can have such intimacy, such uruj, that the Prophet has given this as a gift. This gift of prayer was given in that miraj, and he taken this gift and brought it back to us. Why? Because he had that one mirage, elevation to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the night of miraj, and as a reminder, as a gift, he wants me and you to experience that every single day. Not just once, not twice, 5 times a day minimum. Experience that elevation, that intimacy, that love, that connection, that bond with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that, you know how in Parliament they're discussing big things. For example, now they're discussing Brexit. They're trying to figure out Brexit. Big things. But then Parliament doesn't want to be disturbed about, oh, my bin didn't get taken today. Parliament's job not that. They don't want to be discussing whose bin's been taken, not taken. Or somebody, the dog has littered the ground here, we have to do something about it. They're lowly things, they're minor things. In other words, is that if a person, if an individual is actually elevating themselves, having uruj to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, every single prayer that they're having, and they have that intimacy with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then the bickering, the infighting of people and whatever they're doing, they don't want to be concerned. They're not concerned with it. Because they're busy with what? With big and high and mighty things, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's greatness, magnificence, and that intimacy, and these are things that they don't want to be busied in, the lowly things, petty things. Or he didn't say salam to me, or he gave me the dirty look, or he didn't actually hold the door for me, he didn't massage my feet, and so on and so on. These are petty things, lowly things. And that's the reason why we are so engrossed in these little things. This is what Awliya and Salih and the Prophets mentioned. The Prophets mentioned they were always the mushahada of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's why this dunya seemed nothing and vain, is like useless. They didn't really want to be here. And the Prophet said, oh my ummati, you should be having this as well. And that's the uniqueness of this course, is that it is enabling me and you every day to aspire to have an ascension, to have a miraj, to elevate ourselves higher and further. But we are not actually taking the opportunity. We see it as a burden, but rather He gave us a gift. The Mashayikh gave this course as a gift for us to experience that, to elevate us outwardly and inwardly towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to take us from one place to a higher place, a lofty place. It's like, because shaitan Where was he before he got rejected? He was in the heavens, wasn't he? And because of the fact that he wanted fame and name, he got rejected, and what happened? Became lowly. We unfortunately were, what was Bani Adam? We were here in this world, isn't it? Not our father, I'm talking about us. Human beings, sons of Adam, are opposite to what the situation of Shaitan was. We walk on the face of the earth, isn't it? We're opposite to it. But, and listen to this very carefully, this is a beautiful saying of Shaykh Ahmad Abbaq. What they said was that the human beings, despite being opposite to what Shaitan was, up in terms of fact that in the level that Shaitan was walking the heavens and we are walking the face of the earth, if the human being, the son of Adam, if he repents to Allah sincerely, if he repents to Allah sincerely, it is as though he's a heavenly person was walking the face of the earth. When he repents sincerely in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is as though he is a heavenly person was walking the face of the earth. And that is what, in other words, is that when all your baggage of sins and everything is gone off, in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you are heavenly, even though you're here. You could be in Bolton, in Hyde, in Oldham, you could be in Pakistan, you could be in Denmark, but you're actually heavenly. How amazing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, how merciful Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, how wonderful this deen is, that we fail to see the beauty of it and we take it for granted. That we don't avail the opportunity to do tawbah, that we don't avail the opportunity to actually take the sheets of the course, that we don't avail the opportunity to see it in this light, but we always see it in a negative light, a burdensome light, but rather we should see it in a positive light. So we should really be striving as much as possible to actually elevate ourselves from the position, from following our basic desires, and try to actually elevate and make ourselves higher as much as possible, spiritually and physically. So Salman Farsi radiallahu ta'ala an is narrated, this is from Al-Ghunya, the hadith regarding Rajab and the virtues of Rajab. And what I want us to do is that, it's really for myself, is that avail the opportunity. These are days of blessings, a nice of blessing. Shaban is come, days of blessing, nice of blessing. Ramadan is going to come, and if we're not actually taken measures, unfortunately we're not going to reap fruit in Ramadan. It'll be very difficult. So let's start cultivating now by giving targheeb and motivation to actually do it. And listen to this very carefully. Hazrat Sayyidina Salman Farsi radiallahu anh said this, he reported to have said, I have heard these words from the blessed lips of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, is that if someone has fasted one day in Rajab, fasted one day in Rajab, his reward will be just as great as if he's fasted for 1,000 years. One day in Rajab, that person's reward is if he's fasted for 1,000 years. We don't even live 100, let alone 1,000. Now your eyes are popping out. Oh my gosh, yes. This is Hussein Salman Farsi radiallahu anh. He is saying this. Then he goes and say, and just as great as if he has freed 1,000 slaves. Not only fasting for 1,000 years, but as if you freed 1,000 slaves. And if someone has given sadaqah, a charitable deed, a sadaqah during the same month, in this month of Rajab, any sadaqah, £1, helping a door, helping a needy, giving some clothes, feeding some poor, any sadaqah in this month, listen to this, his reward will be just as great if he's donated 1,000 dinars to a charitable cause. Now, this is like basically 1,000 dinars are equivalent to like £100,000, maybe more, in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We don't even have that else, and maybe some people have, but we don't have that. No, I don't think we'll ever see that. For every hair on his body, for every single hair on his body, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will record a good deed on his credit column, book of good deeds. For everything. He will raise him. Now, you want elevation? Look, just by doing this good act of fasting and also doing a charitable deed, you want uruj, you want ascension? Look, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He will raise him by 1,000 degrees. Now, when we say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He will raise, how much can you raise yourself? Maybe you can raise yourself one step, go higher. Or maybe with mehnat and spiritual I'm talking about, maybe you do one sincere salawat, one sincere durood, maybe one sincere prayer, and you get a little bit ascension, a little bit of uruj. When Allah SWT will say, when we say that Allah SWT will raise a person, it means that he just 1 degree by, so just listen to this, is that Shaykh Ibn Atala Sikandar Rahmullah, he's our Mashayikh, said is that when we say that Allah SWT raises a person, is that Allah SWT will raise that person in the might and majesty that he possesses in the most perfect way without any deficiencies. Are you understanding what I'm saying? Is that one is we may, for example, do this salah, there may be some lack of intention, lack of devotion, lack of thinking. That's us from our Torah, from ourselves. That may be lacking. Do a durood, they'll be lacking. But and Allah SWT says is that I will raise you, I will elevate you. There is no lacking. It's the most perfect way He's going to raise us. In the most mightiest way He'll raise us. There is no difference. He will raise us. Now imagine He says that 1,000 times He will raise us. 1,000, not once, not twice, 1,000. You get elevation, raise, loftiness. Imagine from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And not only that, He will erase 1,000 bad deeds from your book of deeds. For every day He keeps fast. For every single day He keeps fast. And for every gift He gives in charity, Allah SWT will credit him. Now listen to it, will credit him with 1,000 Hajj and 1,000 Umrah. These are the days of blessings. Not once or twice, 1,000 Hajj and 1,000 Umrah. He will build 1,000 houses for him in the garden of paradise, as well as 1,000 places and 1,000 apartments. For each apartment, now 1,000 garden, 1,000 houses, then there'll be palaces, 1,000 palaces, and there'll be 1,000 what? Apartments, chambers. And in that, in each chamber will contain 1,000 chambers. In each chamber will contain what? 1,000 hurs or huris, and 1,000 times more beautiful than the sun. Is that now what we can just the indication we're getting from the Prophet from this is that here is that maybe you're feeling a bit sluggish, maybe you're feeling a bit lazy, maybe you're feeling a bit devoid of motivation. What He's doing by hearing this is giving you targhib, is that work, strive, look what you can achieve. It's the character and stick approach. Look what you can achieve, strive, and you can get this. Think it different. Put that mehnat in. Work now, work in Shaban, so you can get a fruit for Ramadan. That is what we're getting. That's the ishara the Prophet is actually telling us. So obviously we don't want to spend too long because we're really here for the ascension practice. But here is that every single one of us can have an ascension. Every single one of us can have an uruj. The course of purification is teaching us how we can actually take our bodies, our minds, our hearts, our spirits to elevation, to a high level, a high degree. Every day we can do and we can have. The salah is pinpointing, the gift of salah is telling us is that we can have this not just once, 5 times a day, if not more. If you do nawafil, you can have even more. What do you think these different mashayikhs and companions of mashayikhs, they love to do supererogatory prayer, nawafil prayer. Where we just want to do the minimum is that if I just do my 5-time prayers, brother, alhamdulillah, but they want to do 100, 200, 300. It's because they knew something. They knew that I'd rather be in prayer than go somewhere else. Then what do you think Sayyidina Ali, he said is that if you want to take the dagger out, there's no other time to take it. When I go in sajda, then take it out. Why? Because the blessed Sayyidina Ali, Karamullah Wajhul Kareem, when he went to sajda, he is now in intoxication of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He does not feel anything now what you do. So when they took the sword out and they said, have you done it? Ya Amir al-Mu'minin, yes we have. And he didn't feel a thing. Now for us, a little prick, a pin will hurt us. If there's a little bit of a stone in front of us, oh, that is a little bump on a carpet, it will hurt us. It's because they knew something of prayer. They had such intimacy of prayer that we never have, that we never experience. And they want us to cultivate that. Hence why you go to the retreats of these spiritual retreats, the ones coming up and the ones, see those moments and try to utilize them so that you can train yourself up how you can have ascension in prayer, how you can have ascension in dua, how you can have ascension in normal day, everyday practices with muraqabah, etc., etc. How you can do that. Because we all want elevation, we all want loftiness, we all want highness, spiritually and physically. Jazakallah jazak, subhanakallah wa bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Inshallah, now if you need to have any question regarding it, you can do, otherwise we'll get on with the essential muraqabah. No question? Take inshallah. We'll get on with the essential muraqabah. So, as you know, first and foremost is that you may get the intentions right and correct your intention you're doing for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then, obviously, you'd actually, the three keys, Allah is with me, Allah is see me, Allah is hearing me in the manner that suits His Majesty with all sifat and qualities. And then what we'll do is that you'll recite the amals of protection, 1 time Surah Fatiha, 1 time Surah Ayatul Kursi, and 3 times the 3 kuls. And then you'll actually, the 3 states of the heart of tawakkul, of reliance, of humbleness, tawadu, and shukr, and thankfulness. And then inshallah we'll begin the process of beginning amals, and then we do the process of starting the preparation and cleansing the latifas, and then so today, as you last week Shaykh Ahmad Abagh, our master, they said is that this days of Rajab has nisbat to Sayyidina Ali radhiyallahu anhu. For those of you who actually visit the maqams physically, I mean, or spiritually, is that when we go from Sayyidina Abdul Barahullah to maqam Sayyidina Al-Qadir Jilani, then try to actually go to Sayyidina Ali radhiyallahu anhu's maqam and receive some guidance from there, whatever guidance you can, or from the journey of course of purification, or whatever you can get. Try to actually get there, or whichever position, whichever maqam you're in, and thereafter, like our master said, is that go and try to actually go into muraqabah dua and actually beseech Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for those 7 needs and wants and problems and so on. Is everybody clear? Yeah? Okay, inshallah. So rectify intention commands, and then you may, after rectify intention and the 3 keys of huduri, Allah is with me, is watching me, and so on. Recite the amals of protection. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Rahman Rahim, Malik Yawmiddin, Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in, ihdinas siratal mustaqim, siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim, ghayril maghdubi 'alaihim. Bismillah. الله لا إله إلا الحي القيوم لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم له ما في السماوات يا بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل أعوذ Now I have the 3 keys of the heart, the 3 states of the heart of tawazu, humbleness, of shukr, and of tawakkul, reliance, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then inshallah recite the beginning of Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Astaghfirullah wa atubu ilayh. أستغفر الله وأتوب إليه. أستغفر الله وأتوب إليه. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد وسلم وبارك عليه. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل محمد وعلى أصحاب سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. صلى الله على محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. لا إله إلا الله. محمد رسول الله. لا إله إلا الله. محمد رسول الله. لا إله إلا الله. محمد رسول الله. So now you may start with your preparation, a preparation of the lataif and cleansing of the lataif. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. If you may, wherever you are, slowly bring yourself back. Seek the last bit of guidance that you have. Slowly bring yourself back. Now, if there's anybody who'd like to give any feedback, then you may do so.
Yeah, anybody raise the hand, inshallah. This is actually the opportunity where you should mention, I don't know why people be quiet at this time. And then they ask people afterwards individually and things, and some actually continue with the same problem.
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. I met Hazrat Sahib when, the time, and Hazrat Sahib took me by the hand, and there were some sort of carpets, masala type, and flew to the heavens, and there were like galaxies. And I don't know if you ever remember Star Trek, the stars going flashing past, going millions of them past. Then came back down to earth, and came to Baghdad Sharif, met Sayyidina Abdul Qadir Jilani, gave salam and met them, and they hugged us. Went to Hazrat Ali's Maqam, Najaf Sharif, met Hazrat Ali, gave them salam and met them as well, and they hugged us and fell at their feet. It's vague, it's all vague, I couldn't see it, but it's vaguely, I know it's happening. Went to Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, we got the Prophet Sallallahu there as well, the same there as well, gave salam and fell at their feet, hugged us. Sat there and something was happening, but it was all very vague, and I sat there and came back slowly. We got Ijazat and we came back from Medina Sharif to Najaf Sharif, from Najaf Sharif to Baghdad Sharif, from Baghdad Sharif, and on the way back we came to Baghdad Sharif, and we met as the Sayyidina Abdul, me and my master teacher, met them, it's very vague, but I've done it for a very long time.
MashaAllah, that's Mubarak, and that's very blessed to even see that. And it is right, the speed at which what you're saying is that the soul actually travels faster than even light. It's just the such speed at which the soul can travel is unimaginable, that the moment you instantly think it's there. So what you're saying is if that's the way of your mind being able to articulate what the soul is, how the soul is traveling. So there's and also Mubarak that even to have the opportunity. I'll just mention you something that Shaykh Ahmad Abagh, this ascension, this mirage said, is that when we all transferred it, that they said that we were talking about ascension, that every single one of us, whenever we actually are in the ziyarat, physically or spiritually of one's teacher, Shaykh Ahmad Abagh, every single one of us actually gets an ascension one way or another. Just to be physically having the ziyarat, come to the gathering, or spiritually if you've seen them, you always get an iraj, a miraj, an ascension. In so many ways that you cannot imagine, that you cannot perceive. So those of you who are, I encourage you, most of you, is that whenever they're physically here, to avail the opportunity to sit, because maybe with the amaz who cannot get any uruj or any ascension, at least sitting there and having the ziyarat of our own teacher, that will help you to get some level of ascension. And then spiritually, then they said, is a spiritual, what to say about that person spiritually who is seeing them, not once, not twice, continuously. So whichever mashayikh that you're visiting, you're blessed in the sense that you visited Sayyidina Qais Pak, you visited Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu, you can say Sayyidina Abdul Jabbar rahimahullah. This is a great thing. This is not a slight thing, it's a great thing. And uruj, this is a great thing. So you should thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the blessing, and inshallah for the effort you're making, keep on making those efforts, inshallah. Taking share, if there's nothing else, that's fine. Jazakallah, subhanakallah, bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.